Hey guys.
Hey everybody, we are back with a video. This is Messy Therapy. It's your girl Angie.
And Ruth. I wasn't ready.
Alright, but we's ready now. So, shout out to everyone that tuned in to our live that we did last week. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, for asking your questions, and for reaching out to us and letting us know that you liked it and that it was helpful for you. And moving forward, our conversation with us and our friends helped you to move forward and take action in different ways at your job, with your family. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It really is. So it just kind of reminds us to kind of continue to have conversations, even if you don't agree, you're not on the same page, because it could be pretty impactful. Because we did it for us, and decided to make it public. And it ended up helping so many of you guys. So I'm glad that it did.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys are taking care of yourselves and you guys are doing okay out there. I know it's tough, but we hope that you guys are doing great.
Yeah. We're going to move on to another topic, but we're not ignoring, what's going on. It's still pretty heavy in our heart, and we'll probably be continuing to talk about it, but we also, wanted to talk on, some other topics and things like that.
Not always focus on something and give you guys something else to think about, talk about.
Yeah, because we know life goes on in the midst of this. Yeah. So, and this topic I think would be very interesting because I'm sure a lot of you guys have dealt with this or maybe dealing with it now. So we wanted to give you some pointers. So Angie's going to introduce the topic.
I was going to make you do it.
I always catch your voice.
Yeah, you do. I was supposed to be drum roll and everything. I was like... All right, so today we are talking about how to deal with your parents not approving of your relationship. Your parents, your family members, your friends, whatever, not approving of your relationship, your romantic relationship.
Peace out, parents. I'm joking.
Or are you? I don't know. But no, seriously, so how would you deal with that, Ruth?
Oh, okay. She got me. So you got me so it's in my head. What would you do? So we thought today we would introduce some effective ways maybe to deal with it, because a lot of times when we're in the midst of this, it's stressful and you feel like you have to choose between your parents and your boo thing, you know.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give you some pointers that hopefully will help and for you to do it effectively.
Yeah.
So
okay. So one of the things that we thought about that are really important is for you to know your significant other, for you to know the girl, for you to know the guy, and for you to kind of get an understanding of why your family or your friends or whoever is in your environment that doesn't like this, your significant other, find out why, and then you weigh that, like, okay, I don't like this person because he sags his pants all the time, or he wears earrings, or because if it's stuff that's superficial, then those are things that are just like, yo, you just gonna have to deal with it, because you're not even looking at the character or the heart of this person, but you're looking at like outward stuff or things that really don't matter, things that have no value, things that hold no weight when it comes to being in a relationship. Because sometimes, like, some family members and some parents and friends are just petty like that. Like, he don't even get his hair done like every 2 weeks. Like, oh my gosh, like, really, mom? Like, oh, she doesn't know how to cook this macaroni. She makes the other type of macaroni, and that's not how I raised you. Like, seriously, yo, like, that's why you don't like her?
Yeah. So I think it's important to I think a lot of time, like, the saying has been that, the more your parent don't like someone is the more you'll be gravitating towards that person. And what happens a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, is that you kind of shut off the person that's telling you, or your parents, since that's the topic at hand, you kind of shut off your parents and kind of like focus on the person. But what we're saying is it's important to maybe take a step back and evaluate to see why. Because what they're saying sometimes could be helpful, because now, like, instead of them telling you, I told you so a few weeks ago, or even for the conversation to be awkward if you do stay with that person, we think that it could, to take a step back, like Angie was saying, to see why, and then be able to, because they're your parents, and I think it's easy if it's like other people for you to say, you know what, like, whatever, I'm going to be whoever I want to. But I'm pretty sure you don't want to sever the relationship you have with your parents. So how to balance it out. So we have some things. So,
and truth be told, we're so stuck, like, especially in the beginning phases, when probably like the first 6 months, even the first year, we're so, ooh, honeymoon phase. Oh my gosh, you're perfect. Oh, we're great. Even if we have like little small arguments here and there, oh, it's okay. I love you anyway. So you can't
Who
see
talks like that, right?
when you don't see you have like these love goggles and you're really looking at the person like this, so you can't really see the person's character. You can't see the things that they're doing that your parents catch or your family catch, and they're like, I don't think this is the right one. So, like we said, if you just take a step back and you actually try to take what they say into consideration, you think about it, you think about how the person treats you, their character, and all this stuff. Compare it to what your family is saying. Then you can make your decision from there, I guess, I think.
So when do you set boundaries? When do you set boundaries, and when do you kind of like are a little bit more lucid with those boundaries?
Okay, so boundaries, I think, would be best to set pretty much immediately. Like after you've taken the step back and you see, because there should be no disrespect between your parents and your significant other, whether your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your fiance, your wife, your husband, whatever. Like there should never be any disrespect. So there should always be boundaries. You should always have that point in time where you're just like, okay, mom, that's disrespectful. I'm not gonna have you talk about, even if the person's not around. Let's say if I'm dating somebody, I won't allow my mom to disrespect my boyfriend or my fiance or my husband, even if he's not around.
Yeah.
Because that's a boundary, so that they know that no, you're not talking about my man in front of me. Like no, like even but like we cut it out. You're not talking about him in front of me, or like don't you dare talk to him and like that in front of me or whatever. Like those are the boundaries that need to be clear cut. So not only does your significant other know, but your family knows. Like nah, like this is it.
I think especially if you're married too, it has to be a team mentality.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like my husband and I, we've been so good at doing that. Like my husband will stand up for me in front of me and then later be like, you were dead wrong, by the way, when it came to that conversation with your mom. So I think it's very important, because you're creating eventually that unhealthiness of them talking behind their back. Like it will sift through you're a human being. Like sometimes underlying issues, like that person is gonna piss you off, and then you're gonna be like, see, my mom was right, my dad was right, and you are trifling, and then it gets messy. See what I did there? Okay, so.
All right, so what about support systems? How do you find support in times like this? Because to be honest, it can be really, really rough, especially for someone who is very close with their family. Like, how do they seek out support when they can't even get it from their family? Because their family's like, no, we don't want you to be with her. We don't want you to be with him. So where else do they get their support?
So I think with that is two things. Like, I think for me, it's a two-part answer. So first, I think you have to be real with yourself. So my word, like if you've been watching our videos, self-reflection have been something you probably have heard me say over and over again, and probably will continue to hear me say. But has your family, are they usually supportive? Do men or women usually bring home? Are they usually like, oh my goodness, yes, son, why is it that specific person? So if they're usually supportive in that specific person, I think again it goes back to the reflection thing. But I think knowing who to like your support, even with your support, I think don't be so quick to think they're not supporting you. And it's not only your family, your friends. Is your friends usually like, oh yes, he's the guy, but now that's the woman, and now all of a sudden they're like, where are you going with that one? Like
not every support is good support, because you don't want the friend that's always saying yes to everything.
Exactly.
Even when it's like terrible.
Balance.
Yeah. Like
so I think it's important to have these people. If that's your support, I'm assuming that you can have an obvious conversation with them to kind of explain, like, this is why I love this person. This is why I'm with this person. Give that person a chance. I understand where you're coming from. And then, like, being able to do it. But then it goes back to the boundaries. So, like, but you can tell me that you don't like something, but you're not going to be disrespectful about it. You're not going to disrespect, because it's disrespect. Like, disrespecting my partner is disrespectful to me, because I'm the one that's choosing to be with him. So it goes back to a reflection of me. So that has to be online there, no matter what. But I think it goes back to the boundaries, like your support. I think it's important, like you said, to have people that's not gonna be like yes, yes, yes. But I think it's good to have somebody, because sometimes, again, like you said with the goggles, when we're seeing, having the support to be able to say, Angela, you may not see this, but he picks his nose when you're not looking, girl. That's nasty. He needs to wash his hands. It's a small conversation, but the bigger things as well, because sometimes we need that support you have to be willing to take criticism. You have to be able to see, like, that's the point of a support system, is that we don't always see it because we're Google Gaga, we're in love, like she says, oh my goodness. So, you know, it's good to have that support to say, yes, nay, look at this, look at that, and you get to explain, no, it's not what you think, like, oh, I'm okay with it, like, there's not a flaw about my husband you can probably point out. I'm just okay with it. Like, I accept him with all of his flaws, but I know what they are.
And that's good that you say that, because I was going to bring up this point. Like, if you are completely oblivious to the flaws that a person has, boo-boo.
Yeah, it's not going to last. Like, I don't mean to speak death, but it's not.
I'm going to need you to take off them glasses.
Yes, because the glasses wear off. It's like a regular glasses. You see these glasses? I can't see anything out of them. I just wear them because my doctor's office has not opened for the past few months, but I cannot wait to run there. I'm saying this to say they're 2 years old glasses, so my prescription has like run its course, but I need them, so I keep them in.
So you preaching over here on this music therapy.
So now it's time for me to replace them. So just like the love thing.
That's perfect.
Yes.
So the next question is, at what point do you move on?
Yeah, at what point?
Whether you move on from the person that that you're dating, or or you're even engaged to, or at one point do you move on from, like, listening to everything that your family or your parents are saying, and you kind of just put your foot down, like, no, I hear you, but I don't agree with you, and I'm sticking with this one.
I think that at the end of the day, no matter what other people's opinion and suggestions may be, that person, you're going to decide to be with them long term. So you have to be the one that make that decision. Of course, it's helpful to have suggestion. It's helpful to maybe kind of like bounce ideas off people.
Yeah.
So again, I think, that word self-reflection, to do some self-reflection and honest ones, like to choose to take off those Google, you're not placing love aside, but to see, like, you always have to, I feel like you have to have honest conversation with yourself. Do I really love this person? Am I going to be able to say yes to this person? Because I believe my opinion of love is that you choose to love that person every day. So are you going to be able to choose? Are you able to look at the flaws of this person and be able to say, you know what? I'm okay with it. Like, my husband is a big jokester, and sometimes jokes are not so funny, and sometimes it can get on my last nerves. I knew that since we first met. Actually, the very first thing he said to me was a joke. I was okay to deal with that, to be able to say, hey, stop playing. Like, like, be able to say, like, and it may be bigger, he has bigger flaws than that I've chosen to be okay with. So when do you choose to move on? You can choose to say, okay, I've looked at all these flaws. I've evaluated this relationship. I want this for long term.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, my parents or whoever it was right. Like, you're not letting them make a decision for you, but you've evaluated it and realized that what they're saying is right, and you're not able to live with it.
Yeah. There are two things that one thing my brother gave me advice on and told me once, and another thing that my one of my other good friends told me. She asked me, if the person never changes, will you still love them?
That's a good question.
Will you still choose them? Will you still want to be with them? And that's a question that you should ask yourself, no matter what's going on with whatever your parents say, whatever. You need to ask yourself, if this person never changes, like stays the same today, the way he or she is,
leaving socks all over the house,
will you still love the person?
Sometimes.
And if you can say yes, you do the most. And if you can say yes, then there you got it. But if you can say no, like, or I don't really know, like, he never gonna say, then that you might.
If that answer is not absolutely, because we're talking about, like, I know that, like, people sees divorce differently, and I'm not knocking those who had to get a divorce. You gotta do what you have to do or whatever. Right. But I do believe that you shouldn't go into a marriage thinking about divorce, that, like, if it doesn't work out. And I don't believe that people who that's what they think. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it doesn't work out, and it's come to that. But I'm talking about those people. Like, I have met people. I've had conversations with people who, in their mind, they're like, you know what? Like, like, if it doesn't work out, I have that way out. Then that's always a way out.
Yeah. And the second other really good advice that my brother actually gave me was, he said, at the end of the day, like, you need to be happy and proud with the decision that you make, period and point blank. And he gave me an example of when he was dating his now wife, and there were some people that weren't so happy, or whatever, but he was like, at the end of the day, like, this is a decision I made. I know who she is, and I'm straight with that. You don't like it? Okay. That's how he took it. He was
Yeah.
like, so whatever decision that it is that you make, you need to be proud of it and not have no doubts and not have no nothing, and don't allow
Exactly.
anybody to steer you any other way. And he was like, and after that, everybody is just gonna have
Yeah.
to go with it, like, whatever. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's living with this person. If it's not just boyfriend, girlfriend, or fiance, if this is actual marriage, you're the one that's living with this person for life. You're the one that's dealing with this person for life.
Mhm.
You're the one that's going through ups and downs and roller coasters for life. So when to move on, it's going to be with your self-reflection.
Yes, up to
You gotta
you.
ask yourself some questions. Yeah.
But take a look to see what people what do they mean. What I was saying,
Yeah.
take a step back, evaluate, and if you evaluate whatever answer you come up with your evaluation, go with
Yeah.
it, stand on it, set your boundaries.
Does this
Yeah.
person push you closer to your purpose, your goals, or does this person pull you back or keep you stagnant? Like,
That's like a topic within itself.
that is. That is. But we hope that this has been helpful. Hit us up if you have any questions or comments. I guess through email or on the comments on YouTube, or DM us on Instagram.
Yes.
But see you next time in the next video.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
tuning in.